Hi Stampin' friends, tonight we're going to use the Impressions Abloom bundle. It has these fit inside and make really nice die cuts that I think they're a little better than our typical die cuts. Let me show you what I mean. It has, like each one of them can have some really nice details, but then also you can just use it by itself and cut out the stamp images from the front here. So they also have matching paper that is gorgeous. I'm going to show you each one in order rather than just running through the paper. I'm going to show it to you basically as we're going through the cards tonight. It also has with it these beautiful gems. They are called Strawberry Slush and Pretty in Pink gems. There are also kind of some clear ones in there, or maybe you'd call them gold. They have some gold in them, each one does. So kind of the clear one is a little bit less than clear, but they're so beautiful and so sparkly. I really enjoy them. And you can use them on a lot of other things than just this particular suite, I think. And it's fairly economical. It does only kind of have thank you, appreciative kind of things, but I did pull out a nice happy birthday from the Year of Flowers. This one, this happy birthday is so nice and fits in some small things because there's a lot of large things with this one. So I'm going to start out by showing you this card that I made with it. I did use the textured notes. They're little rectangles with little textured edges. And the stamping here, I'm going to show you how I did the stamping and just kind of give you some tips on that. Just, you know, what I think looks good doesn't necessarily have to be what you think looks good. But this is on a Strawberry Slush card base. And this particular paper is one of my favorites because it has pinks and purples with green. It just looks like a lot of fun. And then the thanks that is in the, that is the sentiment that is included as well. One of the sentiments. But again, my favorite. I like simple sentiments most of the time. Just happy birthday, thank you, thanks, whatever. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first card that I wanted to show you is this one. Now, this has two different little forget-me-not cutouts. It cuts out 3 in each one, so I did several of those. It has 2 different kinds of leaves. I did these in our garden green, and then also in the old olive. Now you can see there are 2 different kinds of leaves. They're almost the same size, but it does give you some good variety. One cuts it out, and one is a solid leaf that you can use to cut out the stamped image. And then also you can add a little bit of detail inside. You know, it's kind of optional. You could also add the cut part inside the stamped image. Now, it's not going to be that easy to line that up perfectly, but still I think it would be really pretty. Okay, so on this one, you can see this paper has the little tiny forget-me-nots, which I think are in the cloud cover, which we don't have ink for yet, so it's perfect for using these guys. And then I would probably put some kind of piece here. Now let me show you the size of the dies that are in this. They are very good size. So there's a piece that cuts an edge with a, whoops, I got a little bit of smuts on that one, that cuts an edged piece and then the inside. And then there's a piece that cuts a piece that's just a bit larger so that you can glue it on there. So that is handy. But if you notice, if you're planning to use this with designer series paper, this covers up most of your card front in the United States. So I think it is a little large. And you can see here, even when you put, granted this doesn't match, but I'm just showing you, even when you put these on the edges, I mean, I guess you could come way inside with it like that and that would make it look a little less empty, but it's a big space. I feel like that they may be planning for you to use this with photos for those people who like to scrapbook, because it's a good size cutout, really, really large. So I'm just going to, I have a few cutouts here and a few pieces of just, you know, we forget sometimes that we can just cut a piece of paper and use that on our card. And, you know, as you design your card, you might want to add some, add a cloud cover color layer behind it just to make it a little prettier. I've got a square and a circle here, so we can kind of work with that. I think I'm going to use this one first because it's kind of the smallest one. And I think, you know, when we get our beautiful ribbons and twines and things that are in the new catalog, which is coming out on the 6th of May, that'll be good to finally have that catalog. I think that will look really pretty with this. So one thing I wanted to do to these, since they are so tiny, you can see to make them match the paper more, I wanted to put, this is the pecan pie ink, and I'm going to go ahead and squeeze it in there. I'm using an aqua painter, which we used to sell. You can find those a lot of places, or you can use a paintbrush if you have one. So I just have a little bit of water on it, and I'm just going to ink it up. And what I'm going to do is color the inside of these. I don't know if you can see that, they're very tiny. I apologize for how tiny it is. Just color the insides of those. And then I think you can see there that makes that match this paper really well. So I'll probably not do them all while you're watching, but just to kind of make it match better. And I got a little crazy with that one. It's all easy to toss. I might want to use my take your pick tool, or honestly just about anything to just hold it down. Let's see here. Like that. So then it's not coming up. You could use a something else that you might have as like a little poker or tweezers or anything, just whatever's on your stamp table, just to hold them down while you color. I need a little more ink on this side. There we go. I don't want to get it too dark, but I do want it dark enough that you can see it. I probably need several of these, but I think that's enough to show you on that one. And then to show you the inside, how to, you know, to kind of make it match. This is not exactly, not exactly the same flower here, but I would just use the Blackberry Bliss to add some color to it. So I'm just going to go back in my water for a second, grab a little Blackberry Bliss, and then just color the center here. Now, this also, you can see I've colored just a dot there. You could go out from it like this. And this is not something that I usually do, like color on die cuts, but I think this really makes it look a lot more finished and a lot more like the actual paper here. All right. So there you can see that. I'll lift that up so that you can see how it just kind of echoes that. Now we also have, I'm going to go ahead and stamp that real quick. Like the one that I did over here, you could stamp it and put the top on it. So let me show you that real quick with some fresh freesia. We'll have to grab it. There we go. Whoops, I dropped a stamp. I'll have to reach down there in a minute and get it. A little piece of, I like to use a half sheet of Whisper White, Basic White, when I'm doing this, because I just think it makes it easier. Okay, where is it? That's the inside. Okay, this is the outside bit. And what I wanted to try with this, I think that this will look pretty good as a tone on tone. So let's see here if we can get it looking about right. This one I used the Petunia Pop for the center. Hold on. Do it like that. And then I'll get my other piece. Hold on just a second. Like that. Yeah, it kind of makes it filled in a little bit too much. But then also you can use the center here. You can see I've used the Blackberry Bliss and it's pretty covered up. But then you can just stamp the center, which this is what I really wanted to show you there. You can see that. And then I took my water and just kind of blended that out. Because to me, I don't think you would have the center of a flower with a center that dark actually be white. So that was my thinking on that. But I wanted to show you that it would actually look pretty good to go ahead and just stamp these die cuts as another possibility. So there's that. And then I would go back to my watercolor and color that center on out like that. You can see. And then I would do what I did on the other and just kind of drag the color out to the edges. And in this way, you could end up with a much smoother, I don't know if smoother is the word you would say, but a much lighter touch on the color, because it's that. So there you can see that one. So again, this was the one that I stamped that looks more like the center, and this is one that I just colored. So I could even stamp over that one and add a little more color there as well. So let me grab this. I'm gonna try to be mindful of your time here. I'm gonna use just a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and do one more of these. Like that, and then fill this in. And drag it on down here. Now you could use any of the colors as a sentiment on this. I think you could use I may not use the blue because we've pretty much only used the cloud cover and the Blackberry Bliss and the Fresh Freesia, but that's just because that's what I chose. You could do whatever you want. Okay, so I'm thinking on this, I'm gonna get a little bit, try to make them look a little more similar here so that they have the same types of coloring. So kind of what I'm doing is just making sure that the center is covered nicely. And then I'm gonna just add a little more here. Okay, so I want to add some color, a sentiment to the middle of this particular guy. Also, we have this online exclusive light. It's supposed to be a Fresh Freesia, but it's very light. I think that would look pretty in it. So let's go ahead and make a bow. And I just do this like tying your shoes. And all I do to make it work better for me is twist it so that both of the velvet sides of this velvet 1/8 ribbon are on the outside. And then just kind of shrink it down. Go. Put that at the top or the bottom, whichever appeals on that. I'm just going to go ahead and try to stamp myself a happy birthday on here, but I'm going to go ahead with the Blackberry Bliss. Go slightly above center. Go. Put that there. And then add these guys down here, like that. And then put our little cloud cover, forget-me-nots, maybe up here in the center. I would not use the garden green. I would use either Mossy Meadow or, of course, what I have here, which is the Old Olive. Now, one thing you'll notice here, I don't know if you can see that. Let me see. One thing you'll notice here, I don't have the same end of the leaf out. I do think it's going to look better. Doesn't matter which way you choose it to do it, but I think doing them all the same will make it look like it's more realistic as far as being the same kind of plant. Okay, I do think I need one more of those. Let me go ahead and get a little bit more on my brush and do the center of this one. There we go. Put 5 there. And so there you can see it's a simple little card, but it's cute. And then all we need to do to finish it off, I might actually be able to use the cloud cover here, I think. These are the In Color Flat Pearls. So there's the Secret Sea, Soft Sky, Timid Tiger, Darling Duckling, and of course, the one I've already mentioned, Strawberry Slush. I think that would look pretty in here. They are a little bit iridescent, but I think that's okay. I think that would just add a little to it. And they have kind of a little bit of purplish hue as well. So I would probably, when I'm finished here, put a few of these on to finish the card up. All right, I'm gonna set that aside. So now you can see this one. On these, I used all my stamping on this. And instead, I decided that it might be nice to go ahead and try this basically almost the same look, but use a die cut image instead. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get a bright yellow. I'm probably going to use Daffodil Delight. And then just add some color and put that in the center here. A little more. Okay, so there you can see I've got plenty of yellow color on that. Go ahead and do them all. This is an online exclusive, so it's not in the new catalog, but a lot of the things that I'm using with it are in the new catalog. So now that I've done that, I'm going to want to add, like I did on this one, I'm going to want to add some pecan pie just around the edge to make it look a little more like the paper, which you wouldn't have to do, of course, but I'm just going around the edge here and adding some color. You could use the blends. What that would do is make it even more intense. You could also take the pumpkin pie Stampin' Right marker and add color with it, and then use your, let me add the other side. Let me see if I can do it like this. And then use, this is the smaller end of this. I'm just gonna draw around that like that. I'm gonna try to hurry. Ooh, I brought that inside a little bit. There we go. And I'm gonna try to see what happens when I add my water around the edge to kind of smear it. Yeah, that's kind of an obvious thing, but let's see if I add a little more pumpkin pie here, that might, pecan pie here, that might kind of blend it out. No, I think we want to go ahead and use your ink pad to paint. Like that. What's good about this is I think it's not a difficult thing to do to add your color like this, and it really, to me, adds quite a bit of color to it. So I'm just going to drag out just a little bit into the pink just to kind of add a little more depth. You could use any of the colors. It looks to me like they probably used a darker pink or the Strawberry Slush or something, but I'm just kind of lazy and I'm using what I already have out, which is dragging out the pecan pie. You can see I had a little trouble with this one. I got a lot of water on it, but I don't think that'll be a problem once I drag the pecan pie in a more reasonable way around it. This one is really easy to line up because you can see it has that one petal that's just falling off the edge there. So that was super easy to line up when you have those two layers, like I mentioned before, where you're cutting out the image, but also you're adding this texture and to the die cut when you're using it as just a die cut. So that ends up looking really nice. That'll be the ones I put on it. Kind of do it like that. And those are really big, but I think sometimes big and bold is kind of fun. So that was how I would finish that one. Okay, next I have much the same thing, except what I wanted to show is that there are also centers with this. There's a small center and a large center. So you can complete your card by coloring the center. These guys, this would be how you would, okay, this isn't colored, of course. This would be how you would layer this up, but you could also layer these on top of each other. I would put the small sides together, but you can certainly, I don't know if you see what I'm saying here, you can make it more, more full by layering them on top, maybe put a dimensional between them. So we can see if you like that idea or not. There are also, let's see, I'm going to grab these two little guys here because I might need them, those centers. There are also some stems. I think this particular paper looks nice with the garden green because it's kind of a bluer green there. I'm going to bring my petals, my leaves and my little stems. If I can grab a hold of it. Okay, there we go. So there we've got stems, and we can put these, put a little dot of glue on those and pop them right on there. And of course, you know, I think the smaller top is probably the top, but to add variety, you can certainly move them around a little bit, just so that they don't look like they're all the same flower. So I would just set those on there. And then, oh, am I missing one? Maybe I am. Let me look here. Well, shoot. Maybe I only cut 5. I don't think so, though, because I think I was cutting them. Anyway, my suggestion for this is to use a blending brush, which here is my one that I use for brown. So I'm inking it in the pecan pie, and then I'm gonna again use my take a pick tool. I'm using I guess I'll go ahead and use that side. Hold it down, add some color. Oops, okay. So there you can see I've already made quite a difference in the color of it. And if you had a smaller one, that might be easier, a smaller brush. I do have some smaller ones. I don't think I've dedicated one to brown yet, but looks like I probably should, doesn't it? Whoops, I think I flipped that one over. Okay. All right, so now I've got those for the center. Nope, I want to do them a little darker even. Let's see here, a little more color. Yeah, there, that's nicer. And then add some leaves. So there you can see that little display. Now, this might be one where you would want to use the white under it because it does kind of make it pop. It might be beautiful as well to use just a piece of white square or a line. That's what I was really thinking of that I was going to show you for one and I forgot. Just a strip that maybe 1 1/4 inch wide would be gorgeous with that. Okay, so let me kind of finagle these guys on here. All right, so there you can see that is kind of a lot of a profusion there of blooms, and I think that matches pretty nicely. They say this is crushed curry, but you can see that seems like the darker color. You could certainly use your Daffodil Delight instead, I think. And then maybe you would just add like a happy birthday down here, or let's see, I don't think we've stamped the thanks yet, so let's go ahead and do that. Also, in some of these papers, let's see, here's this one. I wanted to show you. This paper has the Darling Duckling as the main color. The Darling Duckling is greener, has some green in the color, and so that looks really nice with this, but I didn't really know how I was going to use this tonight. And the back side of it is the cloud cover, and that's a really pretty look as well. It doesn't necessarily go with the front. Wouldn't be one I would turn down for one of those style cards, but that'll be really useful for some other things, I think. All right, so let's go ahead and do our thanks and our crushed curry. That looks orange. No, it doesn't. Okay, so there we go. You can see that is another option with this set. And then finally, I wanted to kind of just show the other examples of the other papers that are in this. So there is one that looks beautiful with any color. It has Misty Moonlight in it, some Calypso Coral, some Fresh Freesia, and of course the Blackberry Bliss. Has some Strawberry Slush, just every color. It's just such a beautiful batch of colors. And then these cards are on the same paper. You know, they're like kind of like that, but that's not exactly how they are. You can see they're the same one, but they have different colors within it. And if you were going to use it for scrapbooking paper, it's sort of ombres through the rainbow, and it's just so pretty. So that is definitely one that would look gorgeous. I think this one might look good with putting the green and maybe putting a different color green around it. And then when you add your flowers, then it just looks really pretty because you can see in the background here some of the flowers that were on there. So lots of fun. I think this would probably look really good if you didn't use designer series paper. Just make your card pop by using this again. Of course, not with this color. You'd probably use this guy again, you know, that kind of thing. So I guess, okay, I will try to go back through and show you the cards that we made or we designed and have laid out. This pretty little happy birthday with the tiny forget-me-nots in the new cloud cover in color. And then this pretty Fresh Freesia and Blackberry Bliss little flowers as well. They kind of look like dianthus a little bit. And then we just did this one with our Rudbeckia or Brown-Eyed Susans. And then we had this one where we were kind of showing, this is the same way that I colored this particular flower by stamping the center in yellow and then dragging around the edge with the paintbrush the pecan pie. So I did kind of a similar thing to that. And then we had our original card that I showed you where I think it looks probably best with these, with the centers stamped and then the pecan pie added. So this was Impressions Abloom. I appreciate you all watching, and I hope that you have a great weekend and find some time for stamping. Bye-bye.